This statement is highly debated and controversial. Boom! But Florida is great. Guys, Florida is an awesome place to live, and it's not about, people here. It's not about anything else really, but the ocean is right nearby, and we have a beautiful tropical ocean that has an array of amazing creatures. And I want to show you the Alexby Islands, which is one of my favorite dive spots. These outcrops are coated in tons of fish life. We're going to go ahead and give this little lionfish to that eel we just saw. But first we're going to trim him up so he's no longer with us and he's going to be free of these venomous spines. Now people say, why can these eels eat the lionfish? And eels can eat lionfish. They're just venomous. They're not poisonous. So as long as they are eating it head first, they're good to go. He took it in, not head first, but boom. I'm sure he's going to eat it head first, that's for sure. Boom. I got that guy on the run. Lionfish do run away once they figure out that you're trying to catch them, but they predominantly use their spines for protection, whereas this flying Gurnard, this guy will use Gurnard sounds. It makes a kind of a grumpy sound. It goes wah, wah, to scare away potential predators, but it also opens up these great big pectoral fins. And these things look like a much bigger creature, and it startles the potential predators that are coming to eat it. And it has these false eye spots look at that, wow, on the middle of these fins. And it looks kind of like, hey, I'm a big creature, don't mess with me. And they usually just back off. Little cutie down there, that is a soapfish. And I went in close. This is a lionfish that is about maybe 2¼ inches long. I did not have much hopes in catching it, so I'm not just going to sit here and stab into this beautiful barrel sponge. I'm going to attempt to scare it off of this thing so I can have a better shot. I'm going to use my flashlight to get him in an area where I can actually take an attempt at his life. Right now, I just tried and I gave up because I missed him, but man, is he cool. I used my macro lens for that, but this guy is one of the smallest trumpet fish I've ever seen. One time, boom, I opened up a belly of a lionfish and saw this trumpet fish that was almost 6 inches coiled up inside of the belly of the lionfish. It was more than half the length of the lionfish, which is crazy. I actually have it in a jar still, so I can look back at it later on and show people all the different critters that they ate. These islands are so pretty, and they have all this life and tons of little babies and juveniles, but there's also evidence of a lot of fishing. So I'm going to try to get rid of it. It's been there for a while. You can see it's grown into the barrel sponge. I'm going to cut this down so it's going to be safer, and it's not going to create any more issues, and it'll just remain there. It's already grown through the sponge, so I don't want to damage it any further. I'm going to sneak this guy off the side. Boom! I try to avoid poking these sponges as much as possible. We want to come down there and get out of the ocean without, disrupting it too much. We want to do something good for the ocean, and boom, if I have a chance of getting a lionfish and there's a nice coral or something like that I might damage, I will, rather than kill the lionfish, I will just give up, boom, and not risk hurting that bit of the ocean, because if we all do this over and over again, it will create problems, and eventually we will have a destroyed ocean. That's why when people are out there fishing, they drop their anchors and drag them over the reef, and it can really harm the reef. That's why it's illegal to actually anchor on this land. You're supposed to just anchor in the sand during emergencies. And when you're out in the ocean, anchors are not something you're supposed to use as a boater. You're supposed to come up with other way. Get a trolling motor, or just float by, try catching the fish in that area, and then motor back. By dropping the anchor, you're just going to wreck everything. This to your left is a scrawled filefish, and they have these blue scrawled patterns all over. And the fish on the right is a white-spotted filefish. They're both very similar species, but and they swim in similar ways, and they use their little undulating fins to propel them back and forth. But they love a nice snack. They're more of a scavenger than they are anything else, so this is the perfect meal for them. But if you take the lionfish and it's still alive, they're not going to go after it, or if it's not opened up, they won't go after it. And you've got all of these other creatures that are going to benefit from this lionfish left behind. I haven't seen a lot of sharks lately, so leaving a couple fish is not a big deal. But you don't want to sit here and leave 20 or 30 fish behind, because eventually you might get unwanted attention from sharks and things like that. You don't want to get them charged up. Look at the beautiful big fins on these guys. These scrawled filefish are found all over the world. When I just went to the Maldives, they have them there as well. So that's called circumtropical, when you have a fish that lives not just in one native range, but all over the world, or all over areas that have warm water. You can go all the way around the world and you won't see them in a cold environment because they're tropical fish and they need reefs to live on. So you're definitely not going to see, even lionfish in California. So they live in the Pacific Ocean, but the area in California, because of the way the currents go in the ocean, it's far too cold. So you're not going to see certain species that you'll see in warm tropical waters in areas with colder waters. And that's why, the lionfish is so incredibly invasive here, is because it can live in these waters very nicely. Now we got a gang. Now we have the gray triggerfish in there. We have some different surgeonfish, which are also called tangs. It definitely draws a lot of attention. Everybody's waiting their turn to get a little bite. And as you can hear above, you hear that loud noise. That is an engine of a larger fishing boat. And they're just going by the area. They come fairly close to the dive flag. If there's any issues, we tend to just talk with the captains and say, hey, we have a diver over here, and they're usually pretty cool. And we just work with each other to be able to enjoy the ocean as much as possible, the way we want to enjoy it. Look at these guys. Look at when they really get excited, that's when these spots get super dramatic and the coloration changes. Those white spots, believe it or not, will be completely gone. They will just disappear to nothing. They can change drastic coloration changes. The chromatophores in their skin are very versatile, and they use it to, describe different things that are going on in their life. If they're not feeling very good, they're kind of scared, they'll flare up and be very bright colors. If they're trying to hide, they might change their colors to more of a regular pattern to where you can't see it. This guy's actually hunting. You see him just sitting there stalking. Boom. Lionfish are not very dramatic in their hunt until the time of attack. As soon as they're ready to attack, they'll spring forward at lightning fast speeds. This is an important thing to think about, guys. See that line there? That is the flag line, and we have to keep that from sucking into that fan blade. So it's more to it than people think with this diving. We have to be really careful. See how I'm coming at a different angle? Oh, it still didn't work. He still got away. That flag line is one of our biggest enemies. When we're diving, you never know. You got to be really careful to keep that from getting sucked up in there, because it can really ruin your dive. This guy was so cute, just chilling. Boom. And we're about to see one of the coolest critters. There's this neat crab that's called the Florida stone crab. Ah, crap, he got away. Now we're going to take another shot on this little fella. And then why not, just do a quick little shish kebab while we're at it. It's always neat. You guys like shish kebabs, so going to blast one of those. So Florida is a cool place, not just for, the palm trees. The ocean is amazing, and we have really cool reefs. They're not perfect, nothing's perfect, especially since humans are so plentiful here. But it's pretty nice, though. I wouldn't trade it. I think out of the United States, this is definitely the best state for wildlife and beautiful weather, and of course for hunting lionfish. I think it's definitely one of the best. The Carolinas might be pretty good, but the water over there is going to be a little colder. And you're going to have really bad visibility typically out in Carolinas. You're not going to have as much tropical beauty over there as you are here. It's still pretty cool though, I'm sure. But I'm going to take Florida every day of the week. Look at this big eye snapper. He's so cool. And boom. That guy was really using that barrel sponge to hide in the crevices, but he stood up like a sore thumb with that bright red. Each one of these outcrops has a really cool little amphitheater in the beginning of it that usually homes a couple different lionfish and a lot of different other creatures as well. Let's do another little shish kebab. Oh, try it again. Triple shish. So I can't believe that I can miss a shot with a shish kebab and still pull it off. I mean, these guys are pretty confident in these spines, a little too confident. And look at who I got, an entourage of the gray triggerfish, hoping to get another meal because they got one earlier. But these islands are beautiful, big, tons of really mature barrel sponges. This was probably the biggest one I got in the whole trip. Look at this monster. It was about time we hit this spot because it'd been a while, and we cleaned up shop. We definitely filled the containers. There he is. That is our stone crab. This kind of creature is rare to see, and its little stone crab legs are very sought after in the fish seafood market. You can see that the people basically just catch the crab, they break its arms off, and then they put it back in the water. This guy's hunting like crazy, straight up and down, and boom! Sorry, guy, no more native fish in your belly. Look at, I shot right through the body, right through the brain, exactly where it needs to be, and he is out cold. His spines are stuck up just forever. He's done for. And you can see he was changing color and pattern there. Definitely stoned. He was, oh, there's another one. Oh, another two, look at this. What's the rule, my lionfish exterminators? Boom, big one first. And then we get the small one. They usually don't run away, but we're gonna take the one that is most likely gonna, boom, be able to be shot the easiest. And we're gonna take the one that is gonna be better for us to eat and things like that first. We're not trying to lose any of them, but you might as well, boom, go for the biggest one so you can benefit out of it and maybe even try to sell it or, you know, at least have a meal. Because the little tiny ones, we can't really eat them. The catfish like them, but the these tiny itty bitty ones like this, you know, they're not really good for as much. Look at how itty bitty that is. It's only the size of your finger. I'm leaving this island and I'm off to the next island. And you can see the cotton wicks and grunts are in full supply here. And I was able to creep up on this male green sea turtle. Look at that long, beautiful tail. It's got all kinds of really neat patterns on it. And see how the remora is? He's gonna flip over right now. And he's topside. This is their topside look. And then he goes back and he flips back to his bottom side. So they're actually kind of upside down all of the time, which is pretty disorienting if you ask me. Boom! That guy was huge. I guess he's rivaling that other big one we got. Yeah, I could put him in sideways, so he must not be that big. Now this guy is slowly stalking a fish, and I'm getting my pole spear ready. I'm trying to catch him before he gets anything, because the last thing I want is for him to eat another fish. Boom! Easy target. He's so busy hunting, and he doesn't care at all that there's a lionfish hunter coming towards him. He's just busy. That's the best time to catch them, when they're totally entranced. This guy says, "Can I get some?" You can see that by the amount of lionfish that I'm catching on these little areas, these little islands, dead barrel sponge, they're clearly a problem. You know, people say, well, you know, this is the ocean, they're supposed to be here, and boom, where they're from in the actual, you know, South Pacific, they are not here in this number. This is an insane amount of fish to be finding on a 60-70 minute dive. It's unheard of when you go see them in the South Pacific. You're never gonna see this many lionfish. This guy's hunting too. It seems like everybody was, boom, out hunting today. Well, if you stuck with me for this whole video, then you are amazing, and you should definitely go ahead and follow us, because you have definitely earned it at this point.